Okay, welcome to this next lecture of JAM Physics, in which we are going to learn about capacitors. You may have learned about this concept in your previous classes. As we know, these capacitors are given by this equation Q divided by V. That is the charge per unit potential. This capacitor identifies itself with the capacity to store the charges. By storing the charges, it is also storing the energy. So mainly we have three types of capacitors. One is parallel plate capacitor, second is spherical capacitors, and third is cylindrical capacitors. So let us try to discuss about first parallel plate capacitor. And this capacitor is a geometrical property. That means it depends on the geometry of the conductor. It is a geometrical property. So let us discuss first about the parallel plate capacitor. Here you see an example of two parallel plates, two plates of conductors which are connected to a battery. This plate will get positive charge and this plate will get a negative charge. As a result, there will be an electric field in between. This is where the energy is stored. So we want to understand what will be the equation for this capacitance of this parallel plate capacitor. Okay, so first what will be let us consider a point P in between the plates. At this point there will be electric field due to positive charge along positive x-axis, and this negative plate will also apply a electric field in the same direction. As we know, the electric field due to a plate is given by the equation sigma by 2 epsilon naught. Now it is in I cap direction. So the net electric field due to the both plates will be this sigma we can write as Q2 by A epsilon naught, plus due to negative plate again we can write 2A divided by epsilon naught. As a result, the net electric field at this point P we will get as Q divided by A epsilon naught, and this will be in I cap direction. Now to find the capacitance, we need to find, as we know, the equation is Q divided by V. That means we need to find the potential. So to find the potential, we are going to use the equation potential is equal to E dot dr. E dot dr, or we can write E dr if we are moving in the direction of the field. This minus sign if we are moving against the direction of the field, and we can make it positive if we move in the direction of the field. Now the direction of the field here is towards positive I cap. The distance between the plates is d. It is in x direction. So let us consider this x equals to 0, and here we have x equals to d. This is the movement that we are going to make. There is no electric field in this region, so we don't need to bring it from infinity. So here we can find the potential by integrating from x is equal to 0 to x is equal to z. Now see, this is in the direction of the field. 0 to d is in the direction of the field, so I can take the positive sign. So let us try to find out the integration from 0 to d. We have electric field qa epsilon naught and this dr. Now here it will be dx. So qa by epsilon naught, all these are constant, we can take it outside, and we will have integration of dx from 0 to d. That means we are going to get q d by a epsilon naught. Integration of dx will be x from d to 0, d minus 0 we will get. So we will get qd by epsilon naught. This will be the potential. So now we can find the capacitance. Capacitance will be equal to q divided by v. That means we have q divided by v. v is qd divided by a epsilon naught. That means it will go in numerator. We can cancel this q and we will get capacitance is equal to a epsilon naught divided by d. This will be the capacitance of the parallel plate capacitor. As I told you, the capacitance will depend on the geometrical properties. That is, it is directly proportional to the area. More the area, more charge will be stored, and it is inversely proportional to the distance between the plates. More the distance, less charge will be stored. Now here we also understand the general method to find the capacitance. It may be a parallel plate capacitor or a spherical capacitor, or there may be a dielectric in between the plates. The general method is to find the electric field. From the electric field we can find the potential and then find the capacitance by dividing the free charge q by the potential. Okay, now let us apply the same method for spherical capacitors. Let us say we have two spherical capacitors, and here we are not showing the battery, but they are connected to the battery. Let us consider a positive charge on this inner sphere and a negative charge on this outer sphere. We want to find the capacitance of this configuration. So again we will have to consider a point P in between the plates, and here we are going to use the Gauss law to find the electric field at this point. So this is the Gaussian surface. The electric field at this point, let us consider this point as P, will be E ds is equal to q divided by epsilon naught. This will be in, we will write the direction later. This will be the closed surface integral. Now this charge means the charge which is enclosed in the Gaussian surface. As you can see, the charge that is enclosed in the Gaussian surface is only the positive charge. So it will be q divided by epsilon naught. We will get E is equal to q divided by, now integration of ds, that means we will get 4 pi r square into epsilon naught. This will be in r cap direction. Now from this we can easily find the potential by using the equation E dot dr. We will move in the direction of the field, that is from r1 to r2. So we don't have to put the negative sign. We will have potential is equal to E, which is q by 4 pi epsilon naught. This all are constant, so I'll bring it outside. Inside the integration we will have dr by r square from r1 to r2. Now integration of this is going to give you minus 1 by r from r1 to r2. That means it will be minus q by 4 pi epsilon naught 1 by r2 minus 1 by r1. We can remove that negative sign and we can write 1 by r1 minus 1 by r2. This is because the potential due to a positive charge will be positive. So now we can find the capacitance. Capacitance will be q divided by this potential. That potential we can write now as q. 4 pi epsilon naught is in the denominator, it will go in the numerator here, and we have 1 by r1 minus 1 by r2. We can cancel this q. This will be the equation for spherical plate capacitors. Now the same method let us apply for cylindrical capacitors. Again let us consider this inner cylinder to be of R1 and the outer cylinder be of R2 radius. Let L be the length of that cylinder. Again we will consider a point in between the cylinder and apply the Gauss law at that point. So let us consider this Gaussian surface here. It will be also cylindrical. The Gaussian surface, as you know, will have the same symmetry as that of electric field. Here we have the symmetry of electric field cylindrical. So here the Gaussian surface will be also cylindrical. The charges on the inner cylinder let us take as positive and the outer will be negative. On the outer cylinder they will be negative. So again we can apply the Gauss law here. E ds is equal to q, the charge inside is positive, divided by epsilon naught. This is the flux and it will have the direction of r cap. So E we will get q by integration of ds, that means the curved surface area of the cylinder. Now why curved surface area? Because this is the area through which the flux is going to pass. There will be no flux passing from this upper circle and lower circle. So it will be 2 pi r into L divided by epsilon naught. It will have the direction of r cap. Now from this we can find the potential, as we have understood that we can take the positive sign if we are moving in the direction of the electric field. So we will be moving from R1 to R2. Let us put the value of electric field here. We have Q by 2 pi R L epsilon naught into dr from R1 to R2. Now both are having the same directions, dr as well as E, so we can just multiply them. We will take the constants outside the integration, that is q by 2 pi L epsilon naught, and inside the integration we will have dr R1 to R2. Now this is going to give us, this integration is going to give us, let me write this integration here. This will give us log of r from R1 to R2. That means we will have R2 minus R1, that we can write as log of R2 divided by R1. So all these steps, after all these steps, I can write this as 2 pi L epsilon naught. In the denominator, sorry, in the numerator we have this ln of R2 divided by R1. This will be the potential. So from this potential we can calculate the capacitance Q divided by this potential, that is Q. Now this will go in the numerator L epsilon naught, and we will have log of this R2 by R1, that is the natural log. This Q will cancel and this will be the equation for cylindrical capacitors. So basic equations we have seen. For cylindrical capacitors it will be 2 pi L epsilon naught log of R2 by R1. For spherical capacitors we will have 4 pi epsilon naught 1 divided by R1 minus R2. And for parallel plate capacitors we have equation C is equal to A epsilon naught divided by D. So the next case that we are going to consider is when the space is fully filled by a dielectric which is having a relative permeability of epsilon r. So again we will be following the same method that we have used. Now the electric field inside the dielectric, if we don't know the charge distribution. Now here inside this dielectric, if we consider, we don't know how the charges are going to get distributed. But what we know is towards this positive charge there will be a negative charge accumulation, and towards this negative charge there will be a positive charge accumulation. But what we don't know is how these charges will get distributed. So we can use the Gauss law, which we have derived for dielectrics. According to the Gauss law for dielectrics, we can write this displacement vector is equal to QF. Displacement vector is equal to QF. Now okay, so the displacement vector is equal to QF. I think so the equation is integration closed surface integral of d dot ds is equal to QF. As you know, the same equation is for E dot ds QF divided by epsilon naught. When we are applying for displacement vector, we have to just not take that epsilon naught. And for linear dielectrics, we know that displacement vector is equal to E electric field into epsilon naught into epsilon r, that is relative permeability. So let us put this equation here, E epsilon naught into epsilon r, integration of this ds. Now this electric field between the plates will be constant, so we can bring it outside the integration and we will get QF. So electric field inside the medium will be equal to QF divided by epsilon r into epsilon naught divided by that area. So this will be the electric field. Now from this electric field we can find out, this will be in I cap direction. From this electric field we can find the potential as we did. It will be E dot dx, because we are considering the horizontal as x direction. Again we will be moving from x is equal to 0 to x is equal to d, as the dielectric is fully filled in the space between, and we are moving from in the direction of the field, so we will have a positive sign. Okay, now let us put the values. QF, epsilon r and epsilon naught as well as a are constant. We will get 0 to d of dx. That means again we are going to get the same equation. The only difference is here we are going to get relative permittivity along with epsilon naught in the equation for potential. So now we can easily find what is the capacitance. Capacitance will be Q divided by V. Q divided by V, we have Q d epsilon naught epsilon r into A. So we can cancel this Q. Let me write this as epsilon naught A divided by d er. So this means this equation epsilon naught A divided by d, as you remember, this is the equation for capacitance in absence of dielectric. That means vacuum is present between the plates. So we can just write this as C naught, where C naught is the capacitance in absence of the dielectric. So in presence of the dielectric, the equation is for if it is fully occupying the space in between the plates, it will be relative permittivity into the capacitance of the plates when the dielectric was not present, that is epsilon naught A divided by d. Same way we can write the equations for spherical plate capacitor. For spherical plate capacitor we will have epsilon r into C naught. This is C naught is for vacuum. Same way we can write for cylindrical capacitors as epsilon r into C naught. So in the equations here we had got this is C naught in vacuum. So in presence of a dielectric fully occupying the space, the equation will become just 2 pi L epsilon naught epsilon r divided by log of R2 by R1. Same way for spherical capacitors we will have, let us say this is C naught, we will have 4 pi epsilon naught into epsilon r divided by 1 by r1 minus 1 by r2. So the equation will get changed by addition of or by multiplication of this epsilon r, which is the relative permittivity. As we know, the relative permittivity is equal to permittivity of medium divided by permittivity of free space. And these equations we can apply when the dielectric is fully occupying the space in between the plates. Now let us take a case in which the dielectric is not fully occupying the space. Let us say that this dielectric is of thickness T. Now let us try to find the electric field, and from that we will try to find the potential in between these plates. Now the potential in between these plates will be a sum of potential in the vacuum plus potential in this dielectric. So two potentials will come here because there will be two fields. One field will be existing in this vacuum, another field will be existing in the dielectric. So the electric field we know in the vacuum is Q divided by A epsilon naught. It will be in I cap direction, and the electric field in the dielectric medium will be Q divided by A epsilon naught into epsilon r. This will be also in I cap direction. So the potential in the vacuum. Now the potential in the vacuum. Now we can see that this space which is occupied by the dielectric is T. So the vacuum or the space which is in vacuum where no dielectric is there is simply D minus T, and the space that is covered by dielectric is just T. So we'll be using this to find out the potential. So for the vacuum we'll be integrating E dot dx. Let me write it here. We'll be integrating E dot dx from 0 to, let us say, D minus T, and for dielectric will be integrating from, again, electric field in medium dx from 0 to T. This will be the integration that is required. Now if we do this integration, as you know, we will get Q. I will not be following all the steps. We will get D minus T in the numerator divided by A epsilon naught, plus we will get here Q into T divided by A epsilon naught into epsilon R. So here we can take Q A divided by epsilon naught as the common. Inside we can write D minus T plus T divided by epsilon R. Now we can put this value of potential in the equation for capacitance. Capacitance will be Q divided by Q A epsilon naught will go in the numerator. In the denominator we have T divided by epsilon R. Q will get cancelled. So we will get an equation for the capacitance if the dielectric is not fully occupying the space between the plates. Again the process is same. We have considered the electric field, and from that electric field we have tried to find out the capacitance. Again there could be a case of lot of dielectrics. Let me see if I have created a slide. There may be a case in which the space between the dielectrics S is fully filled by section of this dielectrics with different relative permittivity. Let us say they are fully covering up to here. Let us say this is epsilon 1, epsilon 2, epsilon 3, epsilon 4 and epsilon 5. What I am writing is the relative permittivity of different dielectric mediums. Let us say this is of different thickness T1, T2, T3, T4 and T5. Now again here we will have to follow the same steps. the electric field in any of this, let us say, medium will be Q divided by epsilon naught into epsilon r, and epsilon 1 you will get, and the potential due to this will be equal to Q T1 divided by epsilon naught into epsilon 1, and the resultant potential will be addition of all these potentials, Q T1 epsilon naught into epsilon 1 plus again we will have Q epsilon naught T2 by epsilon 2 and so on. So we can take this Q divided by epsilon naught common, and inside what we will have is T1 by epsilon 1 plus T2 by epsilon 2 plus maybe n number of dielectrics are there. So from this we can easily find what is the capacitance. It will be Q divided by V. Now for V we have we will have Q divided by epsilon naught. Epsilon naught will go in the numerator, and in the denominator we will have T1 by epsilon 1 plus T2. Let me see, I have forgotten to write the area. Here we will have the area in all of these equations which I have not written. So here we will get A into epsilon naught, and this will be T2 by epsilon 2 and so on up to Tn by epsilon n. So as many dielectrics of different thickness you put in between, we can just add them in the denominator and we will get an equation for the capacitance. Here again we are assuming that the space is fully occupied, fully occupied by the dielectrics of different thickness. There is no vacuum here. If vacuum is there, the equation might change a little bit. Okay, now let us see what are the ways to combine the capacitors. Like we have different ways to combine the resistors. We can combine them in series and we can combine them in parallel as well, and we have equivalent capacitance in each of these cases. Same way we can have capacitors in series and capacitors in parallel. Now in each of this case we can find out what is the equivalent capacitance. Okay, here I will be just mentioning the direct equation for the capacitance in series and capacitance in parallel. In series the equation will be 1 by Cs is equal to 1 by C1 plus 1 by C2, like the resistance in parallel, and in parallel case we will have C1 plus C2. Same way we have resistance in series. So this will be for series combination and this will be for parallel combination. Okay, now let us see what happens if we consider variable capacitance. Variable capacitance means what I am considering is we have a we have a dielectric in between the plates, but this dielectric is varying, or the relative permittivity of this dielectric is varying with some x or y. For example, we can take some alpha plus beta y. The dielectric is varying as we go in upward direction, because y is there, that means we are moving in vertical direction and there is change in dielectric. Now if we compare this, now see, one more way to identify the dielectrics whether they are in series or parallel is we will be given these two plates, and maybe upper part of this is with some capacitance or C1 and the lower part is with different capacitance, let us say C2. Or we could have this combination of capacitance in which half the space is filled with C1 capacitance and remaining half is filled with C2 capacitance. Now in this case, whether they are in series or in parallel. Now you can see in the first case, Both C1 and C2 are between same two potentials. C1 is also having this potential from here to here, and C2 is also having these same potentials from here to here. So when the potentials are same, they are in parallel. When they are in parallel, we know that for parallel capacitance we have C1 plus C2. Now here, in this case the potential is different in this between for C1 and for C2 it is different. The electric field is in this direction, that means there will be a change of potential. Here also the electric field is in horizontal direction, and if we move in vertical direction there is no change in potential. So C1 and C2 in this case, first case we can say they are parallel. In second case, as they are between different potentials, we can consider them in series, and this will be 1 by Cs, that is 1 by C1 plus 1 by C2. Now what I want you to understand is the direction. When we move in this direction, there is change of capacitance. That means they are in series. When there is a change of capacitance in the direction of the field, then we can consider them in series. And when there is change of capacitance in vertical direction, that is perpendicular direction of the field, as we saw in the first case, there is change of capacitance in vertical direction, then we can consider them to be in parallel. Now this will be very important here, because see, there is change electric field is in this direction and we are moving vertically. That means the change is in vertical direction perpendicular to the direction of electric field. So we can consider this to be a parallel combination of capacitance. So let us consider a small element here and find out its capacitance. Okay, now here again we will use a small element in this direction, that is horizontal direction, because in this direction there is no change of capacitance. This small element we will consider of dy, and we will consider that addition of capacitance in vertical direction. Now you need to understand this diagram in 3 dimensions. So I have brought that diagram of capacitance back here. We have considered a small element here of dy, but it will be 3-dimensional, so we will have to consider all these parts, and then this is the small element dy that we have considered. This length of the plates, let us say, is L. We will consider a square plates, so this length will be also L. Now this dy is going to change from 0 to L, but this L in the z along the z axis is not going to play any part. In horizontal direction we have this as d. This is not going to change. What is going to change? Let me put the axis here so we can understand properly. This will be the z axis. Along z axis we have this length. Along x axis we have d. This is along z axis, and along y axis we have this L. So we are going to integrate along y axis, and as the change is vertical, we are going to consider this as series capacitance. So first we will consider a small capacitance DC. Now this small capacitance DC we know is given by the equation epsilon r into the original capacitance, that is epsilon naught. We will have dA divided by the distance between the plates. Now d is not going to change, it will be the same distance for all. So we can write this epsilon r, we have variable which is alpha plus beta y into dA. Now what will be the area? Small elemental area. As you can see that small elemental area will be dy into L, dy into L. So let me write it here, divided by D. We are considering this area here, so it will be dy, and this, as we know, is L, and if we go on filling in this direction up to L, we will get the whole plate, or that whole section. So the area is dy into L. So this is DC. Now as the capacitance is changing in vertical direction, we will consider this as series capacitance. So the total capacitance can be obtained by integration of all these small capacitance in vertical direction. We'll be integrating from 0 to L. If it was a parallel capacitance, we would have to integrate 1 by C. That means we will have to 1 by DC, and this would give us the parallel capacitance. Here we are considering series capacitance. So now let us integrate this. Okay, DC I have not written here, epsilon naught epsilon R. So capacitance will be epsilon R and epsilon naught are constant. Let us bring them outside. D is also constant. We will have integration of alpha plus beta y into dy from 0 to L. That means we will get epsilon R epsilon naught divided by D. We will integrate this alpha dy from 0 to L plus beta we can take constant, and we will have y into dy from again 0 to L. Alpha is a constant, it will come outside. We'll get alpha outside, and integration of dy is y, so we'll get here L plus beta y dy is y square. That means we'll get y L square by 2. We can take this L one common outside, divided by D. Inside the bracket we will get alpha plus beta L by 2. So this will be the capacitance. You could try for change in capacitance for this equation. If permittivity of the dielectric medium is some alpha plus beta x. Now in this case the change in the capacitance is in horizontal direction. Now you consider element vertically, because in this direction there is no change in capacitance of dx, and we can integrate in horizontal direction to get the full value of the capacitance. But now this DC again we can write as epsilon R. That means we will have alpha plus beta x into area divided by D. Now here the area will be not changing, because this area will remain same throughout the integration. This area that we are considering is the area of the plate. When we are moving in horizontal direction, this area is not changing. What is changing is the x-axis, so we will have to take dx in the denominator, and this will be into epsilon R. But now see, the change is in horizontal direction, so we will have to take 1 by dc, because the addition in horizontal direction is in series capacitance, and this integration is going to give us the equivalent capacitance, that is 1 by C. You can carry out this integration and find out the value of equivalent capacitance. Next we are going to see what is the energy stored in the capacitor. Now for that we will have to consider the amount of the work done to bring charges on this plate or on either of this plate. Once you bring one charge on this plate, for the first charge there will be no work done, but as you are going to bring the next charge, this charge on the plate is going to repel this, and you will have to do work to bring this second charge on this plate. So what we will consider a small amount of work dW to bring this charge. This small amount of work will be V into dQ. We are bringing a small charge on that plate. V, as we know from the equation of capacitance, is Q divided by V. So we can write V is equal to Q divided by C. Q is the total charge here. So we can obtain the total work done in charging this plate by integration of this dW from 0 to Q. We will get Q divided by C into dQ, integration from 0 to Q. So this will give us Q dQ integration will give us Q square by 2C. So this is one equation for the work done or the energy stored. Another equation we can write by replacing this Q is equal to CV. We will get work done is equal to 1/2 C square into V square divided by C. One C will get cancelled, so we can have another equation, that is CV square. So this will be the equations for the work done to store the charges on the capacitor. In some of the questions you may be given such a circuit and asked to find out what is the equivalent capacitance between the points. Here they are A and B. So in this case we can use the nodal method to find out the capacitance. Now what is the nodal method is to assign node voltages. Now see here, wherever we have intersection of two or more wires, we will call that point as a node. So we have this point as the node, here we have another node, again we can have this as node. This all points will be nodes where we can assign the voltages. If a wire is there in between two nodes, we can consider that node as a single node. Here we have intersection of two wires. So let us assign this node as V1, this will be V2, there is a wire in between, so this will be also V2. Here we can assign V3, this will be V4, here we can write V5, V6, V7, this will be same V7. So from this we will try to understand which capacitance are in series and which capacitance are in parallel. Now C1, first we will take this branch. We will take this branch here. As we know, if the capacitance are in between same starting and ending points, that is same starting potential and ending potential, that means they are in parallel, and if they are having different starting points or different ending points, that means they are in series. Now here we can see this C3 and this C2 are between same starting points and ending points. Now this V5 and V6, because there is a wire in between, we can consider this as V5 only. So C4, this is C4 and this is C3. C4 and C3, as you can see, have same starting points and same ending points, so they are in parallel. We can just replace them by a single capacitance. So let me draw it here. So we have this point V5 here, these are in parallel, so their capacitance will add, we will get a single capacitance here of 4. Again this point is continuing to be. Above this we have a capacitance of 8, that is C2, and we have this point V1 here. Now you can see that this two capacitors are between different starting and ending points, so these are in series. These are in series. we can find their capacitance and reduce them. One series capacitance we will have to take reciprocals, that is 1 by 8 plus 1 by 4. That means what you are going to get is 1 plus 2 divided by 8. That means this CS will be 8 divided by 3 or 8/3. So we can replace that whole branch, this whole branch. Let me see if we can overwrite it. This whole branch, this whole branch we can, along with this, so this whole branch can be replaced by a single capacitor of 8 by 3 and going up to this B point. Now we will try to do the same for the other capacitors, trying to identify them whether they are in series or parallel. Now we will take this branch for example. Now this C5 and C6, that are these two capacitors. These two capacitors, as you can see, have different starting and ending points. C5 has V2 as the starting point, C6 has V3 as the starting point, which is a different potential. So these two will be in series. Let us first try to reduce these two, and then we will see whether this C1 is in series or parallel. So we have 6 and 12. So equivalent resistance of this will be 1 by 6 plus 1 by 12. That means we will have again 2 plus 1 divided by 12. So CS will be 12 by 3. That means you will get 4. So we can replace this resistance, these two resistance here. Okay, I have replaced this resistance by the equivalent that we had got, that is 4. Now we can combine this with C7. Now as you can see, this capacitance, both this C7 and this capacitance have same starting point and the same ending point, that is V4. So that means they must be in parallel. The total of these two is just 4 by 4. That means we will get a capacitance of 8. So this whole branch we can replace by a single capacitor of 8. Okay, let me replace that. So now that capacitance is replaced by a capacitance of 8. Again you can do the same thing for the remainder of the capacitors and find out a answer for the total capacitance.